But I think if people who have the responsibility to uphold that constitution disregard the constitution, then it doesn't matter. Okay? What matters is what the people think, is the voice of the people. I think as Zimbabweans, we have suffered enough, we understand enough that until we decide to vote in mass, until we decide to tell our neighbors about voting for the right person, term limits does not change anything. So in 2017, President Mugabe was removed and people said there's change. Nothing happened. So that change did not bring anything. Britain does not have a term limit, but the leaders, when they err, when they make mistake, when they fail to look after the interests of the people, they get removed. So all I'm saying to you is, the Constitution is important to the extent that those who have been entrusted to uphold the Constitution, respect the Constitution, respect the people of Zimbabwe. So it's up to them, because it's their democratic right to vote anytime they want. But if then the electoral process is flawed, they're not going to challenge. So we must focus on the electoral process, that the electoral process is fair, and it's not an event. Elections are not an event. It's what happens in the country every single day. So what we need to ensure that is the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, ZAC, will uphold the Constitution, will create an environment where political parties can campaign freely without intimidation. They can go about doing and educating and telling the people about the importance of voting and be able to choose the best man or woman for the job of the president of the country without fear. So we can have the Constitution say in one term, but as long as the state itself intimidates people, make sure that there's no freedom. Freedom is the apex of aspirations. Freedom is the apex of aspirations, of any of us aspiration. If we are not free, we are not able to exercise our fundamental human rights. So I don't think it has anything to do with the third term. It's about us making the right choice of leaders. As I said to you, right now we have got everybody just running around thinking that they can be president, and some people think if you spend more time in jail, you become more popular and stuff like that. And then you come up with a different accent than the one you went up with. Then we take those people seriously, and then you spend time with those people. Then as a country, we're going nowhere. We have got good leaders that were prepared to be part of the government. And I can mention without necessarily saying that, Dr. Nkosana, I think he's a good professional. But I don't think Zimbabwe is ready to choose people who can have the interests of the country at heart. Government leaders, public leadership is about public interest. Now, when we have public leaders that don't have public interest at heart, and us as voters, we cry all the time, then what do we do? In the past, some of you might think I was taking a swipe at Advocate Chamisa when I said, well, he's young, he must come to us for guidance and advice in terms of, how to be able to lead and manage people. So leadership is not an event. Leadership requires selfless, persistent, caring, progressive leaders who are knowledgeable. Africa has had about, if you read my book, more than 470 leaders, whether prime minister or president, and most of them have failed to change the state of their country, other than Makamba. He set up a system in Botswana that made sure that the Botswana people benefited from the mining in terms of the diamonds. From day one, it was 50-50. The current president wants to change to make sure that the Botswana people get 75%. That's progressive. And you could then trace, obviously, what has happened in Botswana over the years, other than now, where there's a friction between, whatever former President Makamba is trying to do go into exile and say my life is under threat, and I'm not saying it's not under threat, but what we need to do is to make sure that whenever there's succession, that succession is smooth. You must look in terms of Africa, how many leaders have been taken out of position. By the time the next leader is inaugurated, the other one is in exile or is in jail. Whereas in other countries, when one leader leaves to the next one, there's a pass of the baton. The previous, the predecessor is there to be able to celebrate and hand over the powers or the levers of power. So in a nutshell, the Constitution is as good as the person entrusted to uphold the Constitution.